and welcome to the GoldenGoal podcast. We are back again.
We're back again, and we're no longer talking about international football. It's all about the clubs.
Do you know what? I'm actually so glad we're talking about club football.
I think this is what people are more interested in as well.
Yeah, I'm
tired of talking about England, tired of talking about Joe Hart. Let's get on to it.
Fuck all that. Okay, so this is what we're doing. We're gonna present this to you in our Premier League predictions table. So we're going to start off today with who we think will finish first.
Yep.
And then we'll do second, third, fourth, all the way through to 20th. And we'll give you our thoughts on what we think they're going to do this season.
So it's going to be divided into the strengths of the team, the weaknesses of the team, the manager, the player to watch, and just basically giving us a general overview and evidence of why we put the team in that position.
Yeah, because the way we originally did this, it was that we both had a prediction table, and ours were kind of different. Like our top 8 weren't different at all, were they? But it was below that. It was very different. We had very different.
So we kind of got an equilibrium. This is kind of like a bit of a balance.
Yeah,
between the two teams.
We've kind of compromised on what we think a good table would be.
But I think we're happy with what we've got.
We're definitely happy with what we got, I think.
Should we start off with our first place team then?
Our first place team, Premier League champions for this season, according to us, Chelsea Football Club.
Which is quite surprising, I think, because I think a lot of people would be thinking, oh, you've got a Manchester United fan there who's going to put United first, especially as a lot of the pundits think the Premier League's going back to Manchester.
And of course I support Leeds and we fucking hate Chelsea. So
exactly, so...
But honestly, I really think they'll do it. I think they'll win.
So what's your main strengths? Why have you put Chelsea first? Because both of us did it.
In my opinion, I think Chelsea have the best manager for the Premier League style and just generally how the Premier League works. They've made probably the best signings, or maybe not the best signings, maybe just the best transfer business.
Most efficient.
Yeah, the best transfer business. So that's both ins and outs. I mean, when we were making this table, there was no doubt in my mind, really. Especially because when we first started doing this, they had just signed Kante.
Yeah, I remember. I think it was the day.
Yeah, it was the exact day that they signed Kante. So,
yeah, my main one was exactly that point. Is the amazing signings they've made, like signing Kante. He's just the perfect player for the Chelsea team.
He is
perfect player for Conte. Well organised. Defensive minded. I mean, he's going to be a massive wall in front of that defence that leaked in many goals last season.
He's absolutely, like, if there was one player in a Premier League team that I would say Chelsea should sign, it would have been Kante.
I mean, and for only 30 million. I mean, that's pocket money in today's transfer window.
Especially when you see some of the deals that have been done this transfer window.
I mean, I think in some ways Kante is probably the best midfielder signed this season.
Probably.
But even better than Pogba. I mean, I'm a Man United fan, and for value for money, Kante is an absolute steal.
It's also like the style in which he's going into. It's like if you say, it's like the whole Lacazette to Arsenal thing, where it's sort of like, okay, 45 million for Lacazette is quite a lot of money, but for what he's going into, a team that basically only really needs a striker and a centre-back, perfect signing, really.
He's literally going to be the new Claude Makelele for that Chelsea side.
Yeah.
And that's what Chelsea epitomise, is that they need that defensive holding midfielder.
Yeah, they like to not concede goals. Basically, every team does.
Someone's going to organise that defence. Someone that's going to shore up the attacks of different clubs they play. Because I think I got a statistic here, which is like they let in 53 goals last season. 53 goals last season. I mean, you look back at when they used to have that type of midfield with Claude Makelele. I think they went one season where I think it was 2005-2006, they only conceded 19. Having that defender that midfielder sitting right in front of the defence.
Yeah.
And you saw how well he played. I mean, I think Leicester are going to really miss him this season.
For my sake, I really hope the players that they've signed to replace him do step up to Kante's shoes. But
they're big shoes to fill.
On Chelsea, what do you think? Like, do you think that like the Conte mindset is going to be one of their main strengths?
I think it has to be.
Yeah.
I mean, Conte is just an absolute he's an absolute military man with the way he conducts his team. He expects so much of his players. You know, he's got that 3-5-2 system. I think he's going to implement in Chelsea, and I think with the players they've brought in, their style of play, I think it's going to be good. I think he's going to be really efficient. I mean, look how well he's done as well. He's arrived in England with 3 Serie A titles and two Italian Super Cups,
and absolutely building Juventus into what they are. Because before him, like, Juve were in Inter Milan's shadow, really.
They're the 3rd best team in Italy.
Yeah.
Just behind the Milan clubs. And now, I mean, how many leagues have they won in a row now? Like 4 or 5?
I can't even remember. I think it's 5.
And everyone's saying now they've got a good chance to win the Champions League. And those foundations were set by Conte.
Were built by Conte.
A lot of Juve's success he's thankful for. So,
yeah.
I just think just his organisational skills as well. I mean, you saw what he did in the Euros as well with Italy. I mean, that was the worst Italian team on paper in decades, and yet they were probably the 3rd or 4th best team.
Well, like we said in our Euro preview, I mean, our Euro review, I thought that Italy were probably, I think, maybe only second to Croatia as my favourite team in that whole tournament. I really, I loved Italy in that tournament. I thought they were fantastic. And do you want to know what's crazy? Is that people said about Louis van Gaal, like, oh, his style, if he brings that over to the Premier League, it's going to get figured out really easily. Conte's been using the same formation and style for years and years and years, and people still haven't figured out how to beat it. Because, I mean, look at what Italy did. They only just got knocked out of the Euros because of dodgy penalties.
And I just think the whole system is just so organised. I mean, they got their signings done really early. Like, we wrote what Kante was probably signed about 3-4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I think that just shows a team that's just ready to get started, that's eager to get started. Like, when you know you've done your business early on, you don't need to be, like, you know, messing around with different players and stuff and, like, panic buying. They barely spent any money, but it's what they're going to do with the money, and the efficiency of who they signed, I think will get them that first spot.
I hope so.
And also, like we said earlier, like, there's just like there's going to be a lack of distraction, lack of European football they're going to be playing, and that's going to really going to come in handy when you reach the February, March, April period.
Well, especially because for a Conte team, they need to be really physically fit as well.
Yeah, that was another one of my points. You know, you looked at last year at the start of the season, Fabregas, Diego Costa, they all looked really overweight. They did not look in shape at all.
No.
And now, they're absolutely shredded. I mean, the team looks fit, they look healthy, and that's what Conte expects. He expects so much of his players. He doesn't expect, like, world class, you know, he doesn't need a team with world class players to do well. He just needs a unit. He likes his team playing as a unit, teamwork, and yeah, I think that's what Chelsea should be about. I think for too long now it's all been about the individuals, and I think he's going to get the best out of his team.
I hope so.
Play in a system they all can understand.
Yeah,
it's consistency.
I mean, I don't know about you, but like a physically fit team with probably a couple world class players, and also a team that's not really that old, thinking about it.
They've got a good balance of youth. I mean, they've signed the boy from Marseille, who scored 17 goals in 36 last season. So you've got a 22-year-old up. You've got the experience of Fabregas. Courtois is a young keeper as well.
Yeah.
They just got that balance.
A stacked team.
Yeah.
A stacked team is what they have. And do you know what's crazy is that when I say stacked, I don't even mean like, you know, they've got like a fuck ton of strikers or like a fuck ton of really good midfielders or whatever. They have a really good balanced squad. Their squad isn't going sort of like, you don't sort of, I mean, do you remember when Man City had like the massively bloated squad when they had like a fuck ton of midfielders and like 5 strikers?
Yeah.
But then they had like only, I think it was 3 covering defenders. One was a left back, one was a full back, and one was a centre back. They have a really centred squad, the really balanced squad that is capable of covering for each other. That's going to be massive, in my opinion, anyway.
And also, I think the fact that they're coming, there's got lower expectations than previous seasons is always going to help them as well. I mean, like we said earlier, like all the pundits, from Keon to Shearer, everyone is saying the Premier League's going back to Manchester. They don't know which Manchester it's going to be. I reckon about 40% going for City, 40% are going for United, 10%, only about 10% of the pundits are going for Chelsea. So there's no expectation, there's no weight on their shoulders. They had a lot of weight on their shoulders last year. Do you remember everyone going, oh, they've won the league under Mourinho, they're going to dominate English football for the next 10 years?
Yeah.
They haven't got that anymore. They haven't got that pressure.
No.
Everyone knows they're not going to have as bad a season as last season where they finished 10th.
Yeah. Also, wasn't that really weird when they finished 10th last season? It felt like us going back to sort of like like
the late 90s.
Late 90s, yeah. When you had sort of like really good players but just not playing well.
It was just a massive shock. It just, from the get-go, it was like fireworks going off with Mourinho, and it kind of like he lost the. It just goes to show what happens when you lose your team, when you lose the dressing room. But
yeah,
I think the dressing
sure.
room's back. I mean, I've seen like their pre-season. They seem to be well organised. They seem to be playing quite like Chelsea-style football.
Yeah,
and defensive-minded, military-minded football.
Do you know what's going to be great about that though? Is that that's also going to please the fans, because Chelsea fans, they're not like. I would compare them almost to Arsenal fans, where they're not like crazy difficult to please, but if they're a bit ruffled, then they're not going to be happy. Like they booed Mourinho's team last year when they were just playing shit. But like the fact that Conte is going to have them playing organised defensive football, that's what Chelsea like. It's what they're about.
And I think when a team's been hurt, and I think they kind of gave up as soon as they knew it was unrealistic they'll get Champions League football. They probably played the last 3 months thinking, well, we've avoided relegation, because remember there was that massive fear where they're bothering with relegation the first couple of months. We've avoided relegation. There's nothing really to play for anymore. Got knocked out the cup competitions relatively easily. So it's almost as if like they've been like, they must have been raring to go for months before the other clubs. They had nothing to fight for ages. And their players have got a point to prove, and when you've got a point to prove, it makes you more determined to succeed.
That's true. And another thing as well, this is probably even more to thank Conte for, to be honest. But when you have like Hazard, Batshuayi probably up front, or Diego Costa, who plays on the right? Is it Oscar?
Oscar, yeah.
Oscar, and then like Fabregas and someone else in the middle. I'm not sure who else would play there. But if you have them with a defensive core that's like really strong behind them, they're going to be able to go absolutely wild. They're going to tear people apart. They're going to destroy teams because they don't need to track back, really.
And I just think it goes to show that the players, like you said, like the whole point of like having that military, having that team unit, I think it's epitomised by the fact they've managed to keep their big stars.
Yes.
Willian, Fabregas and Costa.
Hazard.
I mean, they would have been wanted by a lot of big teams, despite their poor seasons. I mean, you're thinking like a big team could prey on that. They could be thinking, oh well, Chelsea have got a fantastic squad. They haven't even got Europa League. Let's pounce on these players right now because they're vulnerable. They're probably a bit gutted. But no, they've stuck to it. And I think fair play, they didn't jump ship.
Fair play, they haven't jumped ship.
A lot of players would have done.
Not yet anyway. This is the 15th of August. So
I know, I don't think they will.
No.
I think they... and I think that goes to show about... they have the faith in the new manager as well. Because I think they would have looked at like Conte coming in and thought, you know what, he's a man worth fighting for. We've seen what he did at Juve. We've seen what he did with the Italian team. I'm going to be sticking around.
Yeah.
What about weaknesses then?
Well, yeah, we've gushed over Chelsea, I think, a little bit too much already. But I do think there are potential dangers. Not many, but potential dangers.
I think defensively, I mean, even though Conte is a defensive-minded midfielder, the only thing I worry about is Conte's free at the back system. Chelsea have never really... They've always seemed to have had that back four unit.
True.
And will especially with their defence, like I said, that let in 53 last season, are they going to have the fitness? Are they going to have the ability to do that. But then again, we said they are going to have the defensive minded midfielders there with Kante.
Yeah.
So maybe it'll be okay. And I also do think they need a left back. I think that's the one weak point they haven't really.
Really?
Yeah.
I have a feeling they're probably confident in their left back because they let Baba Rahman go out on loan. So I feel like they're probably quite confident in their left back situation. I think because I think that Azpilicueta would play left back.
I just think he was just a bit inconsistent in previous seasons.
Well, last season he was certainly. He was pretty bad last season.
I think most of the goals they shipped in were from that side.
Side of the field. But I mean, like, maybe because bear in mind he's not going to be playing as a left back as such. He's going to be playing as a left wing back, which is quite a different kind of role, which also might be a weakness as well from the fullback positions because a wing back has very different responsibilities than a normal fullback because they've got to get forward a lot more and they've got to be very aware of their timing going forward and coming back because if they go too far forward then they will get exposed. So
I mean, and also another one is the whole Diego Costa thing. Like, he's prolific, but it's just his temperament that I think can get him into the land of trouble. What happens if he has bad discipline again, misses crucial games? Because they have got they've got a team with like the foundations and they've got, like replacements if players get injured. But I just think up front, if Diego Costa gets injured or because he does stupid challenges, he gets into scuffles, I'm just a bit worried that they're going to really miss his goals because he is their main goal scorer. When you look at City and the strikers they've got and United even now, I don't think Chelsea have that much depth up front.
Well, I mean, it depends on what you mean by depth. I mean, I more mean just someone to play up front, really.
Yeah.
Because striker-wise, they have Diego Costa, Batshuayi, Remy is still there.
Yeah.
And I mean, Antonio Conte really only plays one striker. So that's two backup strikers, one of which is probably like nearly Diego Costa quality.
And there's still talks that Lukaku could.
Yeah, exactly. That's really ridiculous, by the way, though, isn't it?
What, do you not rate Lukaku?
No, it's more the situation of like letting him go.
It's a bit like the whole
Pogba.
People resigning. Because Lukaku would have been absolutely perfect for that Chelsea team. He could have been the new Drogba.
I know. I think they signed him specifically for that reason, but they just didn't have faith in him to do it. He didn't really get played though. It's a shame.
I think hear this now. I mean, I think if they sign Lukaku, it could be quite scary, and they could be building foundations for the next few seasons. Because everyone's been saying, "Oh, it's going to be the Battle of Manchester in the next 5 years." When Chelsea can sign Lukaku, I mean, they're going to be real dark horses. I mean, he'd be absolutely perfect for them.
In a Conte team, he's pretty much perfect because he's a target man and a proper old school target man. Yeah. Speaking of temperament, by the way, I think Antonio Conte's temperament might get them into trouble sometimes.
I mean, sometimes I don't know because Mourinho had the same issue when he was at Chelsea, and I think some of the players do thrive off that.
You reckon?
I think, yeah, I do. I think Chelsea have got some bastards in their team. Some players like Diego Costa and Fabregas who have been known to be quite fiery. And I sometimes think a bit of fire can be good. Not too much fire that it goes out of control, but I think they need a manager that's showing some passion. I think they really do. I think that team reacts to passion. I think Mourinho, he had overdosed with the passion, the fire last season, but that's what Chelsea needed for years before Mourinho came in. That passionate manager, that is like,
I suppose,
all against us.
Because who do they have? Like Di Matteo, Villas-Boas at one point, like Benitez. So, yeah,
I don't know. I think sometimes a little bit of fire is good, and they have got some bastards on that pitch.
They do.
And
they do.
I think in some ways it can be a good thing. I think showing a bit of fire, a bit of passion, which they didn't show last season, would do them some good.
Well, yeah, but I mean, fire's all well and good if it's well directed. I mean more if like the fire doesn't get directed or channeled into something good, because like if Conte gets himself in serious trouble, and gets like a touchline ban for like 3 matches, and he misses some important games, that could be a real problem.
How was his discipline? Wasn't the greatest in Italy, was it?
No.
How many games did he end up missing?
I don't know how many he missed, but I know that he definitely missed a few games. He missed. Actually, I remember there was one Champions League game. I can't remember how important it was. I think it might have been a group stage game, a Champions League game nonetheless. And he got banned for it the game before. I mean, that's bad. That's like real lack of foresight.
Yeah.
In that sense, anyway. I don't think Conte does have lack of foresight in general. I just think that if his if his passion isn't channeled properly, it could cause Chelsea some issues.
They don't want a repeat of last season.
Exactly. And on that note as well, also just red cards in general, because if Conte gets his team like really, really fired up and like they're ready to go out games, that is probably going to be great for 99% of times. But if they then go down to 10 men, you know, in a Conte system, losing one man is a problem, because that means that everyone is going to have to come back.
Because the way he sets up his team is very much like a chessboard, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's very
exactly.
Strategic.
It's very structured.
Or even Jenga, like one piece.
Yeah, one piece comes out and the whole thing just collapses.
Yeah.
It's like exactly. It is like a Jenga tower, because I mean, I'm trying to think of Conte's system right now. It's 3 at the back,
5.
2 wing backs, a defensive midfielder, 2 centre midfielders.
Yeah.
And then a striker up front. Is it one behind?
One behind the striker.
One behind the striker. It's kind of like
a 3, 2. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a 5. It's like a 5-1-2-1-1. That's going to be a massive problem, especially if you get a defensive red card, which is where most red cards come from, really, don't they? That's going to be a massive problem. But I mean, at the same time, he probably knows how to deal with that.
I mean, he's getting more and more experience, and his Italian team, to be fair, didn't have any like discipline problems.
They were very disciplined. That is true. I personally think that attitude is the only thing that's going to get Chelsea in trouble. I don't think they have any problem with quality, style.
But that's always been Chelsea's problem. Their biggest enemy has always been themselves.
Yeah, it's always
even when they had like, you know, Drogba and Terry,
Lampard in his
prime. Like, for example, like in 2007-2008 Champions League final, like they were playing the better football in the second half, and then Drogba just unnecessarily gets himself sent off.
Yeah,
probably would have taken that 5th penalty and would have won the match. It's always been kind of discipline with them.
Yeah, true.
But then, like I said earlier, that's what makes them great, is having that bit of fire.
Yeah.
Being those bastards, a bit like Man United in a way. Anyway, who did you put for your player to watch?
For Chelsea?
Yeah.
I really, really think I have tied for player to watch out for. I really think that this could be Eden Hazard's
that's what I put up.
Best season ever.
Yeah.
I really think that he could thrive in this kind of environment, because he doesn't have to worry about being defensive. I don't think that Conte will put Hazard as one of those players that needs to get back. I think he's going to be the real linchpin in this side, attacking wise, because that was his problem under Mourinho. He didn't like tracking back.
No, I mean, Mourinho always likes players that can track back, hence why he sold Mata.
Yeah, exactly.
And I just think with him as well, like, he continuously got better to the latter stage of last season. Like, he didn't score a goal until April last season. I mean, he had a horrific season, considering the season before he won the PFA Player of the Year. But now, like, he had a decent Euros, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
And he's just got so much to prove. Like, he's going to know his doubters.
Exactly.
And if you're a truly great player, I mean, I look back at Ronaldo. Do you remember when he came back after the World Cup of 2006 and everyone was on his back and everyone was doubting how much of a good player he actually was? I think that could work. I can think that could work for Hazard. Like, it must be so frustrating. I mean, he is a professional. I mean, he's a winner. Imagine having seen yourself improve every season, then having like just a massive decline. I mean, it's a phenomenal decline. I mean, how can you go from scoring 17 goals in one season to go in 8 months without scoring a goal?
Exactly.
It's just so much, and his biggest critic will be himself.
Exactly.
And like you said, if they've got the likes of Kante and like that defensive system with like defensive midfielders doing all the work, doing all the groundwork, I mean, he's going to have so much time to flourish.
Exactly.
And attack.
I think he especially, but also, I think one player who's going to, like even more so than Hazard, thrive under Conte, and it's maybe a bit of a surprise that I'm saying him, I honestly think Branislav
Really?
is going to absolutely lead that back line. Because bear in mind, he's an experienced head who's physically capable. Does that remind you of anyone else? Fucking Bonucci, Chiellini.
Yeah, I was thinking Chiellini.
And Barzagli. That is exactly what those three are, and they're good at it. And I think that Branislav Ivanovic, if he plays centre back, he could really, really basically emulate what those three have done.
And they need experience in defence, because let's be honest, John Terry isn't going to be starting.
No, of course not.
And they need that experience. I mean, Zuma will probably be coming back as well.
Exactly.
I think just all the reasons we discussed. I think with I think the manager and the club are just a match made in heaven.
I think they are as well. I think that was a very, very shrewd. I think that, to be honest, if we're talking about best signings for Chelsea, probably Conte, really, if he counts as a signing.
And you know what they've got, and it's that whole thing of identity thing again as well. Manchester United right now going through an identity crisis because they've got Mourinho in charge. I mean, Mourinho does not play the Man United way. Pep Guardiola is going to implement a new system, which isn't the Manchester City type of way. Even with Liverpool, and even with Wenger of Arsenal doesn't really have a identity right now. It's all a bit up in arms. But Conte plays defensive-minded, shrewd football, and Conte is the perfect match.
Exactly. Oh, I think that's all we have to say about Chelsea. I think so.
Yeah.
Is that everything?
Our favourites, our champions.
Yeah. I mean, do you have anything more to say on Chelsea?
Let's just hope that they don't finish 10th again and we don't look like idiots.
I know, yeah. Alrighty. Well, thank you for listening. And we will be back very quickly. We're going to record Manchester United now. Little bit of a teaser. Yeah. Little bit of a teaser for next one. Yeah, no, we'll get on to the next one straight away. We'll probably upload that straight afterwards as well. Okay. Alrighty. We'll see you guys later.